Yes, this is a video from the Hop Edition. No, we're not streaming it, which is a bit weird. What we got at the weekend was we got some fantastic footage from BrewCon. Lots of footage around the place. Andy was wandering around with his camera being absolutely awesome. We got some interviews with some suppliers and with some of the speakers, which was really cool. We interviewed Jamil Zainasheff from Heretic Brewing. We interviewed Sean Knight from Siren Brewing, massive beard, legend. Robbie Harrigan from Yakima Chief, I spent a lot of time annoying him. And Johnny from Brewcake Tap, because it's Johnny from Brewcake Tap and he's cool. Sit back, enjoy the footage. See you soon.
So it's the Hop Edition podcast live at BrewCon 2023, and we're joined by Jamil Zainasheff, the keynote speaker for this year's event. So we're just going to ask Jamil a couple of questions, get a few hot takes on things. So you've just done your keynote speech, Jamil. So could you sort of summarize just those key points that you were looking at in the speech today and tell us a little bit about that?
Well, fermentation is, of course, critical to beer. And fermentation nutrition is key to yeast performing and providing those flavors that you want. So I kind of went through zinc and how to properly dose zinc, how much you want, and how to properly dose it.
Yep.
And oxygen, same thing, how much you want, ways to measure and properly dose it.
Yeah.
And then talked also about free amino nitrogen, amino acids, and how they impact flavors and can change the flavor of a beer in fermentation based on what amino acids are available and in what concentrations. And suggested that people try using individual amino acids instead of just general yeast nutrient.
Yeah, so a little bit more kind of targeted than just your general off-the-shelf like yeast nutrients and things like that.
Right.
Is zinc something that would be in normal yeast nutrients, or is that something you have to add?
No, some will have it, some won't. And the problem is you don't know exactly how much zinc is in those yeast nutrients. So I recommend, ideally just making up your own zinc nutrient solution.
Okay, great. There was a lot to take in during that presentation. So is that information going to be available online anywhere at all to see it?
Some of it, I think, will be in the book I'm doing with Andy from Elusive.
Yep.
We're working on a book called Modern Brewing, which is going to be published by Camera in fall of 2024. And so quite a bit of that will be in there. And the rest of it, especially the amino acid detailed, the individual dosing of amino acid, probably going to be in the second yeast book. I did a yeast book with Chris White.
Yep, got that at home.
Yeah, I'm going to do another one with him, working on it currently. It's going to come out after the Modern Homebrewer book, but we'll do something about talking about amino acids and dosing amino acids.
Oh, fantastic.
I still have some research to do on that.
Yeah, sure. So you've got amazing weather in the UK for your visit. This isn't how it normally is in October, but
I brought it with me from California.
So what beers are you have you been looking forward to sort of trying most when you're over in the UK? Have you got something that you specifically wanted to come and try while you were here?
I love traditional British ales from the family brewers.
Yeah.
So I drank a lot of bitter and mild, and we went out to Adnams and did a tour of Adnams and had some of their fantastic beers. Went to Holden's. You ever been to Holden's?
No, I haven't.
A lot of people haven't.
I've done the Adnams tour, which is fantastic. But
Holden's is out in the Midlands, and they just have a fantastic bitter. It's just crack. Probably the best bitter I've ever had. And some other great beers, and went out to Beacon Hotel. The Sarah Hughes Ruby Mild that's spectacular as well.
Classic. Went
out to Theakston's, had some Old Peculiar, I love a lot of those beers. I think they've stayed around this long because they are fantastic.
Yeah, sure. Any standouts in London so far? Or have you not had much of a chance to?
I just got in last night. I had probably like 6 pints of Harvey's
Best. Yeah, another classic.
And then I had the Boogie Van here.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really good IPA. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant.
I enjoyed that.
So what are your sort of impressions of the kind of UK homebrew scene versus what goes on in the US? We know that obviously it's a much bigger scale sort of over there.
Yeah,
Does it feel like the early days of American sort of homebrewing when you're over here? Or?
That's hard to say. I think it's more advanced than that.
Yeah.
And I've been coming here for, I don't know, decades. I've seen the homebrew scene change here to far more advanced than it was even 5-10 years ago. I'd still say that, it's hard to say because in the U.S. pretty much everybody homebrews now. They're buying conical fermenters with glycol coolers and all that. But then I talked to somebody last night, Ian. He was saying that he had a glycol chiller. So I was kind of surprised. How common are the glycol chillers here?
Well, Andy's got one.
Right. So I think it's maybe neck and neck. But there's a lot of application of technology in the U.S. to homebrewing. Okay. So I don't know if people are as insane in their pursuit of the hobby here. Yeah. But that would be,
Yeah. Maybe not as many people putting quite as much investment into it.
Right. But, there's just a larger number of them over there. Yeah. But they're probably, neck and neck otherwise.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Well, thanks for your time, Jamil. It's great speaking to you. And maybe we can get you on the podcast itself at some point if you'd be interested in that.
Yeah, maybe.
Brilliant. All right, thank you.
Thanks. Cheers. Thanks for having me.
About how to lay it in house. They talked about Centennial was the lead house back in the day, but it actually moved around. They use Amarillo, they use Columbus, Cascade, and Chile.
Hey guys, so we've got Sean from Siren here, the head brewer, just done his talk at the BrewCon convention for 2023. So we're just going to ask a few questions with Sean. I'm going to start with, all your talk was all based around the Time Hops project. So what was your favourite beer out of the 4 that you brewed, and for what reason was that your favourite?
It was definitely the Citra and Mosaic beer because I didn't think it would turn out with the information we got from John on our equipment. I thought it would just come out crystal clear, wouldn't work. And
what made you think that it was going to end up like a crystal clear beer?
So he only uses barley. He doesn't use any wheat or oats. He doesn't like the wheaty flavour in beer. And so we use an undermodified pale ale malt, and it just ticked all the boxes. I was so happy with it. We brewed that style a few times now, and we're just really happy with it. A bit of bitterness, nice mouthfeel, and then very aromatic and hoppy. Yeah, I bought the pack and did the taste along and everything when you were on the channel with Craft Beer Guys and everything. It was awesome. I thought that beer was my favourite as well. It was a great project. So you mentioned in the talk about maybe going on with that and doing some more stuff. Is there anything that you think would be the direction you'd like to take it in personally?
I don't know. We've had a few talks about it, and I think this project's always been so open-ended. We can do lots of things. I think the hops coming out of New Zealand at the moment are incredible, and would like to explore that. But I think hop growing regions could be a thing where I think there's some new hops coming out of Germany. It's like climate change. There's better hops being grown in different the English new world hops I think are developing really quickly. We did a project with Buxton Brewery earlier this year, and like Harlequin's an incredible hop. And I think the development program in the UK is so much more fast-tracked than the US because they've learned from them. And then also just Yakima and Oregon, the hop difference there is incredible as well. And indie hops are producing some really interesting new hops like Luminosa, Strata came from them. So it's
plenty of
open.
options, right? For me, like the New Zealand hops idea would be amazing. That would be great to do something.
Some
like
of
that.
the new stuff coming out of there is great. Like we've just used Superdelic. Nectaron's great, and then just Nelson and Mocha.
How did you find Superdelic? What would you say about
really
that?
Punchy, like big, sweet fruits. We did it in a beer we got coming out with Sure Shot.
Okay.
And yeah, it just sits on top.
What would you compare that to as far as like other varieties?
I think quite often it's what I want Citra to be.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But it's punchy. I think the New Zealand hops do have a bit of that diesel character that I think you got to be careful of that when using them. But yeah, it's a great big hop.
Awesome.
Maybe doesn't need to be the lead hop. It can just sit there and just boost everything else.
I think that's more for like hazy beers, or could work in other stuff as well.
Yeah, we did it in the beer. We will focus more on the mouthfeel and the softness of the beer. It hasn't come out as hazy. I actually thought it would, but all the mouthfeel's there, and I think it works in that style really nicely.
Okay. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Cool. So what did you personally think that you kind of learned most from doing the Time Hops projects, as far as, you know, processes or tips or something that surprised you, like the beer coming out hazy when you thought it might be clear?
Yeah, I think that was interesting. Playing around with different yeasts and how we use those. You know, we got a great house yeast that we really enjoy, and I think it's opened us up to actually going, well, let's try some other yeasts and see. And you know, we got Suspended in series. That's great for us to trial stuff like that in. I think whole leaf hops was quite interesting. We'd never used them. Our equipment's not really set up for them, but we learned how to use them without using our spin bots as a hop.
What did you think the impact, like flavour-wise, was of whole cone versus pellets, as, you know, a brewery that wouldn't normally use those?
I think it gives a depth of like hoppiness from the hot side, like the bitterness and the resinness of it really like kind of has depth to it. And we found that in Cascade, and I think with that beer it was really important to balance that with a good malt.
So almost like a more full kind of hop profile to it.
That beer also really surprised me at how good it was, and a lot of brewers have come up and said that was great because it's such a nostalgic beer for a lot of people.
Yeah. I felt like there was a lot more kind of like floral character on that one to me personally, as opposed to what I would get with just Cascade pellets. I don't know if that was something you noticed, or...
Yeah, it definitely was on the floral side, the lot that we used. But yeah, I think it would. And I always feel like pale ale over here feels like it's taken a long time to get you, but I think that malt character is just part of the beer.
Okay, cool. I saw you recently put Liquid Mistress out. In cans, and that's just a limited one-time thing, or
it's our 10th anniversary this year, so it was that. We've done a few comeback voting beers, so we did a staff vote, we did a small bottle shop vote, then we did a pub chain vote, and then we did a public vote, and I think the public vote was Liquid Mistress. So there's a lot of people that want it back. So.
It was one of my favourites from the original kind of core lineup, so I really like that beer. Any tips for people who would want to brew like a red IPA in that sort of style, or?
I think getting your malt base right, making sure you clarify the beer. We've done a red ale before that hasn't clarified, and it's not a good look.
Looks brown and nasty,
And then I think picking the right hops, I tend to go towards the kind of orange citrus aroma for
Simcoe, big
Simcoe
choice in that,
Played around with a bit of Eclipse in this one.
So you want that kind of orange caramel sort of thing?
I think it works nice with the malt base. And then just other fruits backing that up is also good. But it's a nice beer to play around with, balancing malt and hop.
Yeah, definitely. All right, brilliant. Well, thanks for your time, Sean. It's been great to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you guys.
You too. Cheers.
Hello again, guys. So we've got Robbie from Yakima Chief Hops here, veteran
supporter and guest from the podcast. So for anyone who didn't see you on the pod previously, do you want to just quickly tell everyone what you do for Yakima Chief and a bit about that?
Yeah, so I work for Yakima Chief Hops. We are a 100% grower-owned hop supplier. Specialise in US-grown hops. So we have 14 hop farmers who form the grower ownership of our company. And I very fortunately get to work in the homebrew end of the supply chain. So got into this as a home brewer. So get to spread our hops far and wide across the European homebrewing community. So it's, good fun.
Fantastic. So what are you talking to people about most sort of today at BrewCon?
Well, in any part of the brewing scene, there's a big focus on what's new. We've got our core supply of hops, the Holy Trinity, Citra, Simcoe, Mosaic, your Cascade, Centennials, the more classic varieties. But we are part of the hop breeding company, which is the organisation responsible for developing new varieties in the US. And so we've got a few varieties on today which are still in their named format. So that means they are still in experimental status. So trying to get people's hands on those and show them some new stuff.
Fantastic. So this example here, HBC 586. Seen this in quite a lot of commercial beers already.
Yes.
It seems to be going down pretty well with a lot of different people.
Yeah, so
is it going to get a proper name soon, or?
We will see, I mean, we're hopeful. We'd like it to. With any new hop, there's certain things to consider. We know it makes amazing beer, makes beer people want to drink. That's only one part of the part of the puzzle. We need to make sure the farmers are happy with it. I know at the moment, you make sure that it ripens at the right time where it makes sense to pick and that it yields well. There's no point if it only yields 200 kilos per an acre.
Make sure it's like commercially viable.
Commercially viable, Make sure that it's resistant to disease and pests and things like that. So there's a lot of boxes that need ticking before we can roll it into market, but it's looking promising. So we'll see, we'll see.
What does this hop sort of do flavour-wise for you? How would you summarise it?
So one thing we really like in this hop is there's a big part of research which is we call translation of raw hop aroma. And what that means is how the hops smell in the field and in the bag, how do they then smell in the beer? Because quite often what you get in the bag you don't always get in the beer, and you've probably seen that. Absolutely. With 586 we really see that translate really well. So when you smell the bag you get those mango, tropical fruit, citrus aromas, and they really carry through into the final beer, which is really interesting to see. Like most modern American hops, you've got lots of citrus, lots of tropical fruit, but there's also some nice kind of sage, piney notes in there. So it's quite complex and really exciting.
Sounds great. What can you tell us about this beer that is featuring that as well?
So this is a beer that we did when we brewed this. I think it was June this year. So we partnered with SEBA, and for those who don't know, SEBA is the society that represents independent brewers in the UK. About a year ago, they opened up that membership to homebrewers, which is really exciting. Many of our key customers across the globe, think of Sierra Nevada, Verdant, people like that. Yeah. Those guys started out in their garages and their sheds. So we want to be there to really support homebrewers from the start. So this is a beer we did with Quantock Brewery down in Somerset, really nice part of the world. And a guy called Sam who produced the winning beer. So we specified a sort of 4.5 to 6.5 pale ale, single hop to 586, and this is the finished product. So
fantastic.
Yeah, we're really excited to get you guys.
That's available to buy commercially.
I hope so. Yeah, go on Quantock Brewer's website. They might still have some floating around. Yeah, cool. But really exciting. He brewed 20 litres. We went and brewed 3,000 litres on the day.
It's a vote of confidence, right there.
It's a bit of a gamble, but we were quite happy. And actually, Sam's recipe, he sent it to the brewery initially, and the brewer there said, amazing. This is probably how I would have written the recipe. So worked really well on the day.
Well, props to Sam for that.
Yeah, shout out to Sam.
Yeah. So have we got any other varieties that you're talking about today?
So we've got
other new numbered sort of varieties?
So at any one time there's probably hundreds in the program at various stages of development. This is what we call elite trial stage. So that means it's almost ready to go. It means there's quite a large volumes planted commercially, whereas some you could have maybe just one or two individual plants, so they're right in their infancy. So we've got a couple of other varieties that what we want to do is focus on different flavours. Do we need another variety that tastes just like Citra? No, because we have Citra.
Yeah, sure.
We've got a variety that's 630, which has got lots of red fruit, berries, cherry, which is still quite a unique flavour profile to have. And then we've got 638, which has got lots of lemon and lime, but also some melon in there as well, which is quite interesting. So
sounds good.
We want to have a full palette of hop flavours rather than just 4 or 5 varieties that all do the same thing, because that's not very exciting. So
cool. You got any samples of those here today?
Might be a couple we can dig out.
Might be hitting you up for that in a second.
We might find some. Yeah, I'm sure we can work it out. Yeah.
All right, brilliant. Thanks for your time, Robbie. That was great.
Good to see you. Cheers. Thank you.
Okay, guys, time to wrap up BrewCon 2023. We're here with the main man, main sponsor of the event today, and all-round good guy, Johnny. How's it been for you?
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been a mix between like people coming up and having a chat about they want to get into kegging or they want to get into all grain, and then there's loads of people just being like, we bought loads of stuff off you and it's great and you're great, and it's a bit it's been really nice.
So you put faces to lots of customers today and stuff.
and being part, because down in Cornwall we're kind of like a bit isolated from the whole homebrew community, and just being up here and in the big smoke, and and kind of just meeting some homebrew clubs and just nice people. It's
brilliant.
It's gone really well.
Did you get a chance to watch any of the talks? Have you been just busy the whole time?
I did. I watched the guy from Utopian,
the lager guy.
Yeah, and that was because he was talking about quite a lot of how the history of brewing and how lagers used to be made influences how they make lagers. So I had my dinner whilst I was watching that. Okay. Otherwise, I've just been talking non-stop.
With your liking for German beers, I thought that would have been the one that you would tune in for.
100%.
Brilliant. So, do you think you've got a lot out of today, or would you be back again?
No, certainly. I think, as I said, it's nice just putting names to faces, putting faces to names. And just talking about all the amazing kit we got, and all the new products.
Fantastic.
So people are picking stuff up and it's like, what's this? For instance.
Is this the one that most people have been interested in today? Yeah.
And some people know what it is, and some people are like, what's that? So
what is that, Johnny? Tell us about this strange contraption.
It's got a hop bong.
Okay.
So basically dry hopping a pressure fermented vessel.
Yeah.
Specifically a Firmzilla, but we do them with a 1.5 inch for SS Brewtech and grain fiber fermenters. But but it's a contraption.
It's one hell of a contraption. And you can see why they call it a hot bong, because it looks like a lot of stuff that
I wouldn't know.
Put together back in the day, anyway. Moving swiftly on. Sounds like it's been a great day for you. We all enjoyed it. Loads of great talks.
Yeah.
And great to see, podcast sponsor involved with this as well. So thanks, Johnny.
And it's been great to meet you guys.
Thanks very much. It's great to meet you in person, man. It's been brilliant.
Awesome.